So, good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. So, we will be starting our program. Okay. So, today's session we will start, and today's session will be taken by Dr. Sudeep Mukherjee. That is his title of the that is discussion will be mathematical operations and statistical analysis. Okay, so it will be very beneficial for you for the today's session, and it will give you more and more knowledge on the software R. So Dr. Sudeep Mukherjee, so before just starting our class, we will introduce to you all. So Dr. Sudeep Mukherjee, that is working in Dinobandhu College, that is in Bongaon on Kolkata, and sir got his PhD degree in economics in the year 2012, and title of his PhD thesis is that is information of urban labor in developing countries with special emphasis on India. Sir did his MSc, that is Master of Science in Economics from University of Kolkata. Then specialization, advanced economic theory, then Bachelor of Science in Economics honors from Scottish Church College, and other allied subjects were there statistics and mathematics. So sir is a man of mathematics and statistics only. So sir is having a very exhaustive professional experience also. Sir has worked as an assistant professor in economics in Dinobandhu Mahavidyalaya, Bongaon from April 2014 till date, and also served as a guest faculty in the subject Operation Research in the Department of Economics, University of Calcutta from 2016 till date. So sir has worked as a guest faculty for R software in the Department of Economics, Rabindra Bharati University, Kolkata. Sir also acted as a guest faculty in research methodology in the Department of Education. Then sir has also that is served as a guest faculty in many other institutions, including Diamond Harbour Women's University is also one of the important university. So sir has got award also for his excellent contributions in the field of academics, and the paper title that is determining status of health infrastructure that is across states in India using TOPSIS algorithm. So that has been, I think, awarded with some institution from the that is ISB and MP in the year 2020 January. Then again, sir, another paper has been awarded best paper from the ICSSR, and the study was with a special emphasis on the environment of India. ICSSR sponsored in the international conference, and sir has written 8 research papers in different national and international journals, and also delivered 18 lectures as a resource person and invited guest. Excuse me. And sir has presented 13 paper presentations in different occasions. So sir knows many other languages like R, Gemovi, SPSS, Tora, Lingo, EViews, Stata. All these languages are known to sir. So without delaying any that is time, so we will hand over the charge to our today's respected resource person, Dr. Sudeep Mukherjee. Sir, over to you.
Very good morning. Thank you, madam, for giving me this opportunity to deliver such kind of participant in a FDP. Today, basically, I try to deliver the basics of mathematical operations and statistical analysis using basically RStudio, not R, basically RStudio. Now, the days are actually basically we are living with data. Huge amount or lots of data is available due to social media, due to use of internet or information and communication technology. Lots of data is with us, but the problem is what to do with this data. This is the basic problem. That's why to interpret the data, to analyze the data, we need some help of other statistical or some other programming languages. There are lots of programming languages available, but sorry, we basically interested today on language. But the question is, why are dear participant, please mute yourself. Please mute yourself.
Participant, please mute your video and audio. Again, I am requesting you.
Otherwise, it's create problem to you, not me. So,
Please.
so why R? Why R? Because R is an open source programming language. It's open source. With the help of R, we can do any kind of algebraic operations, any kind of statistical analysis. We can draw different types of graphs. This is a very user friendly to analyze any kinds of data. It qualitative or quantitative. Basically, if it is text data, then also R works very good. Let us introduce the evolution of R. From where R comes. It basically developed in 1991 in University of Auckland by Ross and Robert. And the name of the package R, from the starting letters of their name, R from Ross and R from Robert. That's why the language is known as R. And from 1991 to 2000, there is a lots of development. And finally, in 2000, the R version 1.0.0 was released to the public. In 2000, it is developed from 1991. From 1991 to 2000, it takes the time to come up with to the all common people or common public for use. Basically, this particular program based on the ACE language. Basically, it's based on ACE language. Initially, it was developed in terms of ACE. Then it comes in 2000 in a new form or in a form that we are actually using now. Next, another makeover of R comes, which is known as, or which is commonly known as RStudio, that we actually use today. That we actually use today. So, what is RStudio? RStudio is basically based on R. Is execute the R code directly. It also has all the tools that is available in R. Basically, this is a user-friendly interface for the user. So that's why when we try to do any analysis in RStudio, we have to install R in backend, because this is a makeover of R. This is an outer interface. So without R, we cannot run RStudio. That's why when you try to do any analysis with the help of RStudio, you have to install R vis-a-vis then RStudio. I skip this part because I already give you the PDF how to install the R and RStudio, and I think most of you install R and RStudio in your laptops, so that in future, later part, with me you also directly practice with me the codes of R. Right? Basically, I did from Google search. This is available in Google. Nothing. This is not my contribution. So these are the features, and these features actually portray why R is good than any other packages. Basically, the commonly used packages are Stata, SPSS, SAS. These are the commonly used packaged, and R is a programming language or a package for statistical analysis. And the most beautiful thing of R is this is open source. So we have nothing to pay to use R. R is totally free software. And corresponding to this Stata or SPSS or SAS, R is powerful in every step. But one of the major difficulties of R is that is the learning curve is pretty steep at the initial level. But now with the come up of the R Studio, now R is very much user friendly and easy for the learners, just like SPSS and Stata. So R, one thing that is a programming language, you have to write the programs. So it is very tough. No, R is not very tough. R is very user friendly, just like SPSS or Stata. So now we move to some other parts of R. The next is, this is the screen of R Studio. If you open the R Studio in your desktop or laptop, this is the R Studio screen. See the screen properly. These are the there are 4 sub windows. Top left window, this window is known as source window or R script window. This R script is used. This R script is used to write or type the comments or codes, and you can save the codes or comments for future uses. Basically, this R script is a plain text file. R script is a plain text file. You can write here, you can execute this, and you can also save this. After writing any code in script, you just click on this icon, run. You can click on run, or you can, from your keyboard, you can press Ctrl R. Then the command executes and the result comes out in this bottom left window, which is known as console window. So whatever you write in script and run, the result appears in console window. One can directly write the commands in console window, but if you write in console window, you cannot save directly it. You have to copy paste to other format and then you can save it. All the comments, not the outputs, rather. So better for every R session, you start up with a R script, write your comments, whatever you willing to write, whatever you record analysis, and then run this and find the result in console window. In the top right, the window, this window is known as workplace window. Here, this is the global environment and history is there. Whatever the variable you used in your analysis, in your each session, is stored in history tab and environment tab. And this bottom right window is actually, there are 4 sub tabs: files, plots, packages, help, and viewers. I will discuss on packages and plots and later on. Here is the icon, is a broom icon. Here is the broom icon. If you click on this broom icon, so entire environment is clear. Similarly, to clear the console, here is the icon, similarly broom icon. If you see if you open the R Studio on your laptop, you see here is a broom icon. And if you click this broom icon or simply Control L, Control and plus L, the entire console will be cleared. This is the basic graphical interface of R Studio. So basically, I repeat once again, these are 4 windows is there. The top left is R script, where we write the comments or codes. We can save this. R script is a plain text file. In second, bottom left is the console window. Here, if we run the codes, run the commands which already we written in R script, displayed in console window. This is the workplace window, and this is the place where the plots, packages, these are shown to you. So these are the, in a nutshell, the basic graphical interface of the R Studio. Similarly, in RStudio skin, these are also menus also available, just like Stata or SPSS. You can use these menus also for your analysis, for your everyday analysis. One of the most powerful things in R is the library and packages. What is package? Package is nothing but a bundle of R functions. Basically, in R, lots of inbuilt packages are there. Inbuilt packages. For example, I write some name, base, stats. These are the inbuilt packages. In R, just like there are lots of foreign packages also there. So some inbuilt packages is there and some foreign packages also available. So what is the difference between inbuilt package and foreign packages? Inbuilt packages are automatically with R. You have when we use the inbuilt packages for our analysis, for the inbuilt packages, we directly use the codes or commands. We have not to call them. Whereas for foreign packages, if it is with the R, that is, it is pre-installed, then we have to call it. If it not installed, then we have to install it. For example, there is a package known as XLX. This package is useful to import Excel files or .xls extension. So for the .xls extension, the required package is XLSX. You just see the package name XLXX here in the red color. So this is the foreign package. This is not the inbuilt package. So first we have to install these packages using this command: install.packages. Install.packages. And then you have to call these packages using library or require command. Either library of the file name or require file name. I just show you in RStudio. Is it the RStudio skin is visible?
No, it has not come, sir. Now it is.
No.
Now it can be seen.
Is it visible? If you
Yes, it's visible, sir.
If you click on packages, these all are the packages. Here you can see the packages already installed in your R. Some are base packages, some are foreign packages that is required for our analysis. So one can install the packages by directly writing the comments install.packages and the package name, then call the library. But basically, when we talking about the writing programs or writing some words, it is difficult for someone. So we have to write this. So in RStudio, the beauty is you just click on tools, then there is the icon install packages. Click on install packages. Here, this window comes, and in this particular box, you just write the package name. This is the package. You just write initial words, is automatically gives you the all available package with the Excel. So our required package is XLX. So you just click on install and automatically XLS package will install in your RStudio. Since it is already installed in my RStudio, in my R, I am not installing now, but this is the procedure. I say, once again, I repeat the steps. You just click on tools, then on install packages. In install packages, in this box, package box, you just write the name XLX and then install. XLSX and then click on install to install the packages. after installing the package, you just call the package using the function library or require. To write down library, the package name, or require the package name. Clear up to this? Now, the next is how you open a new script. So, what I told you that in every R session, you just write your all codes and comments in R script. So, how you open a new R script? You just you can open R script by using this icon, this plus green plus icon. You just click here, and then there is a R script, and the shortcut is Control plus Shift plus N. The shortcut is Control plus Shift plus N. So you just click on File, you click on this plus icon, then click on R script, or you can open the R script using this File tab. Click on File tab, then New File, then R script. But the shortcut is same, Control plus Shift plus N. So there are different ways. So either you can open it from File, then New File, then R script, or you can open this from just directly click on this plus, green plus, and R script. So the new R script opens here. Clear? This is the new R script. Suppose we want to call the library XLS. Just write the library name. This is the name of the library, and click on this run. What is the error message? The library XLS, there is no package called XLSX. This is the error message. So you can try for another library mass. Run, and you just see this. This is the library mass. There is no error message. So when there is an error message, that means either we wrongly spell this XLS, or this package is not pre-installed in my R. In that case, you have to install the XLS package, then you have to run this. So when there is this type of error message, there is no package, either we spelled this wrong, or this package is not pre-installed in your R. So you have to install it using install package, and then call the library using library or require. Next is when you use the R Studio or R as a tool for statistical analysis, you have to remember some rules. The first one is the very important. R is a very case sensitive. So in R, just what I write here, matrix and matrix are different, not same. So R is a very case sensitive. So whatever you write, minutely see what you write. So automatically it returns the same thing, not the other things. Just like I show you, suppose I write here, just see, I write here cap X, capital X, uppercase of X equal to 2. We write uppercase of Y is equal to 3. Now we try to find out X plus Y. Just see, we run this, X equal to 2, we run this, Y equal to 3. Now we try to find out the X plus Y. We run this, and what is the result? This is the result. How many values are there? two values are there, 2 plus 3. But if we write here the caps y and run this, the value is 5. So it is automatically case sensitive. Clear? So when we write here small y and try to run this command, see the object x is not found. Why? Because here we write the caps x, caps y, uppercase of xy, but in this expression we use the lowercase of y. So R is case sensitive. Remember this. When you write the codes or the comments, we check properly the notations used or the parameter or the variable names used. Otherwise, it gives you the result as an error message. Next is this particular icon is the assignment operator, or you can directly use the equal to sign. It is a greater than hyphen, or you can use equal to sign to assign a task in R. This is the assignment operator. Just I write here x is assign a value 2, or you can write x equal to 2, whatever you write. Y is assigned a value 3, and we try to find out the value of x plus y. So this particular sign or equal to is a assignment operator. As I told earlier, to clear the console, the command is control plus L, or you just click on broom icon. This is the broom icon. Next is to run the codes written in the script. You can either press Ctrl plus R from your keyboard or directly click on Run tab. You can include comments using hashtag. The beautiful features of R is the help function. If you know the particular terms, if the function is known, then you just use the single question mark and the function name. It gives you the entire details of the function. And if you don't know the exact functional form, you just use double question mark and name the function. That the part of the function that you know R gives you the entire details of the function. Clear? So these are the rules, important rules you have to remember while you working with the R or RStudio. You can use RStudio as a calculator. Just like a desktop calculator, you can use a RStudio. Now, what is the operators for addition? Conventional operator is plus. So for example, 4 plus 7 equal to 11. For subtraction, it is minus. For multiplication, it is this sign, the conventional sign star. Division, this slash. Exponential, it's the modulus. Modulus means it returns the remainder. And integer division, it just return the quotient, not the remainder. So how we use this? Just so suppose we try to find out the sum of 11 plus 45. So just write this and click on run and see the output. See the output, this is 56. So one is 11 into 45. Someone is willing to multiplicate. So this is the 11 into 45, 495. Someone is willing to find out 11 plus 45 into 98 using whole bracket divided by 256. Sorry. 256 and run this. It gives you the value. So it simply operates as a calculator. One can find out any mathematical function. So if you suppose you could write this z equal to log 5. To run this and run this. This is the value of j. So what is the value of log 5? Log 5 is 1.60. First we assign j as log 5 and then we try to find out the value of j. Or you can write directly like this, log 5. It gives you the value. The value is 1.605. One can write this. First assign log 5 value z, or z is equal to log 5. Then find the value of z, or you can directly use this value of log 5. So you can use RStudio as a desktop calculator for your daily calculation. So if RStudio is there, so any calculation, any kind of arithmetic calculation can be possible with the help of RStudio by simple writing the calculation steps or simply the equation. Simply you write the equation of your decode calculation and you get the values. So these are the basic arithmetic operators in used in RStudio, or you can add, subtract, multiply, division. You can find exponential values using the RStudio. Next is are basically based on some objects. What are the objects? First one is vector, second one is matrix, third one is data frame, fourth one is list, and fifth one is factors. So vector basically a one-dimensional array. Is a column array or is a row array. What is matrix? From those who are from social science or mathematics background, you know the matrix. This is the n by m or p by q array. What is data frame? Or what is the basic difference between vector, matrix, and data frame and list? Vector basically considers the single type of variables. Vector either consider the numeric values, or it considers the character, or it considers the integer values. So vector basically considers each vector is considering the definite type of variables. Matrix also considers the same type of variable in each row or column. So that means either matrix consider all numeric values or all character values. But in reality, when you do our analysis, some values are characteristics, or some value are in text type or character type. Some values are in numeric or quantitative type. So if matrix only consider the single type of variables, so how we combat with the different types of variable altogether? That's why data frame is very important. Data frame is nothing but a matrix. Matrix in the sense, just like a p by q array structure, data frame also a p by q array structure. But data frame considers different types of variables. It considers characters as well as it considers numeric values. We try to see how we create vector in R. So creating vector is very easy, and the function to create vector is C. This C is the function for creating vector. So first we try to create a vector price. Price of 3 products. Now we consider here. So what is price? Price is, first commodity price is rupees 10, second is 15, and third is 20. Next, we try to make another vector quantity. What is quantity? Quantity is C. Then the values of quantity of 3 products. So how we write this? We just click on here, start a new script. So what do we write? First the name, price, then the assignment operator, price, then assignment operator, then C. C is the function to write a vector. Then put the values of your choice. Any value you can put. These are the price vector. So these are the codes for price vector. So it is correct or not? Just run this and execute this. The price is this. So this we can write this vector properly. Next, write another vector, quantity. What is quantity? Quantity is similar by same, just like price, quantity, then assignment operator, C, parenthesis. So within parenthesis, write the values of quantity. These are the values of quantity and run this. So this is the quantity vector. Now, someone is interested to find the expenditure. So what is expenditure? Price into quantity. So now write the expression expenditure, EXP. EXP assigned as, what is EXP? Price into quantity. So price into quantity. Price into quantity. So what is price into quantity? 58 into 10, 45 into 15 and 45 into 15. So we just run this. Then EXP. Just see. These are the expenditure value. So we can multiply vectors, we can add vectors, we can subtract vector, we can divide vectors. So this is the all mathematical properties are there. I am not going to the entire mathematical properties. You just see the steps first. So these are the expenditure 580, 675 and 675. So these we multiplied with price into quantity. Similarly, you can compute a vector called income. You can compute a vector consumption. So what is savings? Savings is income minus consumption. You can also compute the variable savings. So you just write down this income, consumption and savings is this and find the value of savings. You try it to write down the vectors income, consumption and savings is income minus consumption and then savings. Now in our first case, we write the vector price, we write the vector quantity, we also find out expenditure. But we don't write the names of the quantities. So what are the names of this? Names is, these are the names. The first commodity is rice, second commodity is oil, and third commodity is potato. So we just write this name, assignment operator, then C, then within double invited quote, rice. Clear? Then oil, sorry, using double invited quote, oil, using double invited quote and run this. So these are the vector created, name vector, name of the products. Someone is asking that how price and quantity are given same note. C, remember, listen properly. C is the function to write vector. I am not giving same note. C is used to assign a vector. So when we write any vector, the function is C. So price is a vector, start with C. Quantity is a vector, starts with the function C. Names is a vector, it starts with the C. So C assigns vector. So when we try to write a vector, the function is C. Clear? So we write three vectors: price, quantity. From price, quantity, we calculate expenditure, and then we calculate, we write the another vector, name. Next is when we write the vectors, these are the 4 rows, or basically in art reads it as a column is available. So now how we with the help of these vectors, how we make a, or how we make it a data. So creating data frame depends on the, or we can create data frame using the function data.frame. So the function used to create a data frame is data.frame. So what is our variables? What are the vectors we already created? The vectors already created are name, price, and quantity. So we give the dataset name as FDP data 1. This is the name of the data. You can give any name, your names, my data, data 1, practice set, test, whatever you wish. I give the name of the data here, FDP1. So FDP1, then the function. In vector, the function is C. In data frame, the function is data.frame. So FDP1, then assignment operator, then data.frame, then name, price, and quantity. So if we write this, so just see these 2 lines, FDP data 1, data.frame, and we consider the vectors name, price, and quantity. So if we write this and run this is FDP data 1. So you just see this is the data. The name of the productor, price, oil, potato, price is this, and quantity is this. So from vectors, you can create the data frame. So the beauty of R is you can create, initially you input your data in a vector form and then make it, just a minute, make it a data frame using this data.frame command. Now these are the commands used for exploring the data. These are the basic commands. Lots of commands in here. This is a very powerful and beautiful package. So I just showing you some parts, basically 10% of the all commands for exploration. So first one is the summary. It gives you the basic descriptive statistics and frequencies. str commands gives you the structure of the data set. This is a very beautiful command and very useful command. Names, when you're dealing with a big data set, so what are the names of the variables? So this command is used to know the names of the unknown variable, unknown data set. Heads gives you the first 6 rows of the data set. Tails give you the last 6 rows. And this particular command is used names, dataset name, and this means the column name to replace the variable name or renaming the variables. Start with the renaming the variables. In our case, we write the vector as name. This is the name vector. We write the vector as name. But someone asks you that name is not very meaningful, write the product. In place of name, you write product, because basically these are the products. Name of what? Name means nothing. So name of what? So just rather you can write the name product. So how we do this? This is the command names FDP data 1. This is my data file name and names in column 1. So this is a command used for renaming variable. If we run this and run FDP data 1, you just see initially this is name. You see this initially this is name, now it is initially it is name, now it is become product. So you can easily change the variable names as you wish. Another thing I show you first, that is the example of this exploration of data with the help of a dataset CARS93. A package mass is available in R. You just write library mass, then run this, call the data using data CARS93. First call the library using library mass. Next call data using data. The data file name, data file name is CARS93, uppercase C ARS 93, CARS93. Names of the variable. We don't know what are the variables in the particular data set. We only know someone is giving the information that there is a very good data set named CARS93. You can do anything with this data set. So we call the data set, but you don't know the names of the data set. One is the procedure is you can open the data set and see all the columns or the rows for know the names of the variables. But in R, using names command, if you click this, see these are the variable names. It gives you the variable names are these. These all are the variable names available in this. Or these all are the variables. There are altogether 26 variables in the CARS93 dataset. What are the structure of the dataset? Just click on structure of the dataset. These are the structure. These give you the structure. The first variable is the factor variable with 32 levels. Price is the numeric variable. These are the price values. mpg.ct is the integer. This is the value. So with respect to the structure variable, you know the type of the variable. This is factor, numeric, or character. You know this. So this is the beauty of this particular structure command. So for any unknown data set, using these names, structure, you can see the structure of the data, names of the variables in the particular data set. Next is the concept is factors. What is factors? In our daily research, sometimes we do our work on some qualitative variables. That is good, bad, or in 5-point Likert scale, like very bad, bad, moderate, good, very good. These are the basic types of Likert 5-point scaling type we used. So in R, if we use the categorical variable with respect to the code, that is, suppose someone is thinking 0 is good and 1 is bad, and put the values of 0, 1, 1, 1, 1. R by default treat this as a numeric variable, but by nature this variable is a factor variable. Why it is factor? Because it has two values, 0 and 1. 0 is good, say for example, and 1 is bad. So someone is asking a question: is smoking is good for health? The answer is yes, no. So someone is coded yes is 1 and no is 0. So, and the data, when you put the data in a vector form, so we can write this. Here we consider a very high BP. So people with high BP and people without high BP. So the value is 0, 1, 1, 1, 0 and 1. So if we write this code in R, what do we get? So this is the code for high BP. This is a vector. That is the function is C. Remember this. when we write a vector, the function is small c, lowercase of c, then parenthesis, not uppercase. Someone is mistakenly click on uppercase c in the quiz part. So remember this, always in writing vector, we use lowercase of c, small letter c, then parenthesis. So IBP is a vector and the value is 0 and 1. If we write this and run this, so automatically, just a minute, I just clear this and I run this. This is better. So this is the value. If we write another command, table IBP, it gives you the tabular form. So tabular form gives you the tabular form. So 0, how many frequency? 10, 1 with frequency 9. But what is the value of 0 and what is the value of 1? No one knows. So as long as you assign 0 and 1 a particular value, it is very problematic to analyze this type of data. What is 0 and what is 1? Someone is assume 0 is good. Someone may assume 0 is bad. So what is the exact value of 0 and exact value of 1? That's why you use the factor function. We can write this either in this form, factor, then the vector, x is the vector, then levels and labels. Or we can use this direct as factor x, whatever we use. Now, if we make this a factor, we name this high BP underscore new. Then assignment operator, I told earlier, you can write less than hyphen or equal to. What is the function? Function is factor. This is the function name. Factor is the function name. Then this is the vector. High BP is the initial vector. What are the levels? 2 levels are there, 0, 1. In our data, 2 levels are there, 0 and 1. What are the labels? The levels of the levels are no and yes. No means, that means 0 is no and 1 is yes. 0 is no and 1 is yes. So I repeat once again the steps. First, name the new variable IBP new, then assignment sign, then the function name. Here the function name is factor. Function, then parenthesis, within parenthesis, what are the arguments? Arguments are first x, that is a vector. Here the vector name is IBP. Then labels, what are the labels in my data? 0 and 1. And what are the labels? Labels means the name of the values. That is 0 is no and 1 is yes. If we run this, so this is the creation of new vector high BP new. And if we table this, see, this is the table high BP underscore new. So now it is initially it is 0 corresponding 10 with 10 frequencies, 1 with 9 frequencies. Now no is 10, yes is 9. So which one is easier to interpret? The second one is very easier. Viewing this table, one can say out of 19, 10 have no BP. No BP means BP is not high BP, and 10% have high BP, 10% with normal BP, and 9% high BP. So using this command, you can make the categorical variable as a factor. Next, we try to find out the descriptive statistics, the initial statistics, the part of data exploration also. So before doing any higher level or multivariate or any higher statistical analysis or complex statistical analysis, the one must check the descriptive statistics. Here we use the example of TARS 93 data. The library name is mass, M-A-S-S. You first run this library mass, then call the data cards 93. You can write this within double inverted comma, or you just within cards 93. Clear? Already I call this library mass. So you just write, then mass, M-A-S-S, capital uppercase M, uppercase A, uppercase S, uppercase S. Library mass. You just run this. Then data, C uppercase. This is the cards 93. You just run this. Then names. Names card 93. These are the variable available in the 93. For statistical analysis or doing the descriptive analysis, we generally use this function. This is the function for mean, median, and so on. I will discuss later on. One thing is, when we know the mean of a particular variable, you have to write the variable name like this: cards, then dollar sign, then price. Or see, you can suppose you find mean of what? Mean of a variable price. So we have to write this cards 93, then dollar, then name of the variable price. This is the one way of finding the mean of a particular variable. If you run this, it gives you the value of mean. This is the one way. There are many other different ways, but today just stick on this particular style. The name of the first we write the name of the data file, then dollar sign, and then the required variable. Suppose we try to find out the median. Median of what? Median of the same variable price from cards 93 data set. Write your price and then run this. So the median value is 17.7. So the style of writing is first the data file name, then dollar to fix the variable name. So here we are interested to find the median of the price, median value of the price variable. So the style of writing is first median, then cards 93 dollar price. Similarly, you can find out the mode. For mode, you first apply the table function. Using this table function, first use the table function. So these are the types available in the data. Next, what is mode? Mode is the maximum frequency of a particular value, or the maximum number of occurrence, maximum occurrence. So then we find the maximum value of the table. So the maximum value is 22. So what is the mode? Mode is 22. So what is the maximum occurrence, brother? Maximum frequency is here 22. So 22 corresponding to which value? We use this command, names, then short hyphen table cards 93 dollar type. So this is the mid size. This is the mid size. See this? First the table comment, then find out the maximum from the table, that is the maximum frequency, maximum occurrence, then the maximum occurrence corresponding to value. So the mode is highest frequency is 22, the corresponding value is mid size. You can find mode of any variable. Next, we try to find out the variance. That's why we have to use the comment var, and by similar logic the same criteria, cars, dollar, price. Then standard deviation. What is the comment? SD, data file name, dollar sign, variable name. For range, this is the range. To find out the quartiles, the comment is quantile, and quantile of which variable? Cars 93, then price. Next is quantile. Quantile of what? Quantile of the same variable price, but here we use the customized quantile. That's why you use this vector. That is, we try to find out the 30% cutoff, 60% cutoff, and 90% cutoff. Normally quantiles are 25% cutoffs. P1 is correspond 25%, Q2 is 50%, Q3 is 75%, and Q4 is 100%. Now the customized cutoff is, you can write anything. Someone is interested in 40-80. You can write this 40-80. Someone is interested in 30-60 and 90%. You can write this. And another is the 5-number summary. This 5-number summary is very important for box plot, for drawing box plot. These are the basic descriptive measures we can use in R to analyze any data set. And the another comment is summary. If you use the comment summary of what? Summary of entire data set, cars 93. Just run this. See, it gives you the summary of entire all the variables, all 26 variables. See, model is the type factor variable. So that's why this is the gives the name models and the frequencies. Type is the numeric variable. The type also is a factor variable. These are the frequencies corresponding to the value. Sorry. Price is the numeric variable. The minimum price is 7.40. Maximum price is 61.90. It's give you the median, mean, third quartile, and first quartile. So using summary, you can see the minimum value, first quartile value, median or second quartile, mean value, third quartile value, and maximum value. There's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the 5 points. You can alternatively calculate by 5 points also. So this is the comments for descriptive statistics.